श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. In the last session, as we said, we are continuing with the discussion about rebirth in the raising the questions in the light of the developments in modern genetics. So we had discussed mind is not a product of the brain, and now in this session we'll discuss mind and the body, which precedes which. Now this question, people say, is really complicated because we now know that food and some drugs have marked effect on the mind by making it dull or active. In fact, they say that even the Upanishads say that the mind is affected by the food. Therefore, again, it appears to me, one person says, that mind is a product of matter. But another person says, on the other hand, I notice that anger, lust, grief, which are functions of the mind, cause reactions in the body. Like the eyes get red, there is a rising hair, sweating or tears. Therefore, it appears to me that it is the mind which acts on the brain. Now, for this, the previous person reacts. Suppose I say that anger, lust, grief, etc., are also caused only by food and drugs. Then, once again, you have to say it is only the body which influences the mind. After this discussion, we will look at the Shastras, what the Shastras say in this regard. Notice that the desire to take food or drugs is itself an act of the mind. Therefore, it is only the mind that precedes the body. Also notice that one who is hungry may still experience lust and anger in dreams, though not in wakeful state. And and also that there are some people who do not lose their balance even after consuming liquor. They carry on with normal activities. Therefore, we will have to rule out that food and drugs are responsible for anger and lust. Of course, they may encourage or discourage their expression by affecting the brain. After all, manas or the mind needs the brain as a plenum for its activities. In other words, food and drugs will affect only the plenum, encouraging or discouraging the activities of the mind. But mind is independent of the brain. In fact, this is the import of whatever the Upanishads say. Now, then the counter argument comes from the other person, that is the opponent. They say that we see that some mental diseases are cured by medicine. If the mind is different from inert matter, how can this happen? Now, the answer given in the light of Shastras is mental diseases are not cured directly by drugs, just as bodily diseases are cured. But sometimes they may cause partial calmness in the nerves. During this time, the mind will be able to reimpose its power and start acting normally. Often, mental diseases, which are controlled in this way by drugs, will also relapse. On the other hand, if the mind is directly tackled by hypnotism or good advice or blessings by elders or by worship of gods and the disease is cured, it does not relapse. This is another proof to show that the body is only the plenum for the mind to play its role. This is also quoted from Intelligence Came First by Lester Smith. You see, we are constantly quoting from modern science developments, which are actually corroborates in many places what Shastra says. Now, one more thing. In fact, it is difficult to say definitely whether drugs directly cure even bodily diseases. Nowadays, we all know a lot about it, what allopathic, medicines do. They cure one disease, and then you get side effects, get another disease. So it doesn't root out the disease. There has been a lot of discussion on this issue since immemorial times till recent days, and research is going on. Charaka Samhita poses this question in the following way: drugs taken by one may cure the disease, taken by another may not. On the other hand, one who does not take drugs may get cured, but another not taking may be cured also. Even about cancer these days, about chemotherapy and radiation, the second opinions that chemotherapy further aggravates the condition rather than curing. So, also about radiation, there are these researches going on. So all the four alternatives are possible. It is very, that is, somebody may get cured by the medicine, somebody may not get cured by it, or another may be, not taking and be okay, and all that kind of thing. So it is very difficult to establish a definite correlation between drugs and curing of the bodily diseases. It appears as though there is no correlation at all. In fact, some people are of the opinion that a disease gets cured by a drug just by the mental satisfaction in the patient that the necessary thing has been done. Psychologically, one feels, oh, I've taken this medicine, so I'll be cured. That mind itself is cured. Giving plain sugar tablets to the patient and telling him that an excellent medicine has been given to him have verified the mentioned effect. Researchers call this the placebo effect. Had the mind been an effect of the body, then there should have been only such behavior in the people which keep them physically comfortable. But it is not so. Many times, even a very selfish person does actions for the sake of his wife and children, which bring him physical discomfort. There are many people who are always working for others without caring for their own bodily comforts. In fact, sometimes they sacrifice even the body, like patriotic soldiers fighting for the country. If the mind is an effect of the body, then everyone should be knowing how and why and in what way each thing is happening. But it is not so. For example, consider the case of, there is this lady, Shakuntala Devi, Srimati Shakuntala Devi, who does arithmetical calculation faster than the computer. But she herself does not know how she's able to do. In fact, even Ramanujam, when he was asked, how does he get these complicated formulas? He said that Lakshmi Devi appears to me in my early morning when I get up, and she gives me that formula. Someone asked from among the audience, asked Shakuntala Devi, how is it that you can calculate so quickly? And she replied, had I known it, I would have become as famous as a mathematician. I wouldn't have come here to give you such an entertainment program. This doesn't happen only to her, many others also share such experience. So, therefore, the Astika will say, may I ask you, sir, why are you asserting and tenaciously trying to prove that the mind is an effect of the body? At the same time, you also advise people to operate their free will and work instead of sitting idle. Don't you understand that these two things are mutually contradictory? Would you wait till your body produces the knowledge of these contradictions in you, or would you operate your free will to understand it independently without waiting for the body to help you? So, this is how, we can show that it is not the body, it's the mind which precedes the body, and it's not the body which precedes the mind. Now, then, in the recent years, there's some talk about life under its refrigeration. Let's look into that. Some recent discoveries in science can help us to recognize the jiva even when no life activities are present in the body. We all know that vegetables and eggs are preserved for a longer time without being spoiled if kept under refrigeration. In fact, silkworms, which normally die within a short time, are kept under refrigeration for a couple of months in low temperatures. During this time, they are as good as dead, but when they are brought under the warmth of the sun, they gradually recover and the jivas in them express themselves through their usual activities. Some years ago, we heard that some rich person suffering from cancer had sanctioned required amounts of money to protect his body by keeping them in freezer till the right medicine for cancer is discovered. Such a person willed that afterwards he should be taken out, treated, and brought back to normal life. All these examples make it clear the entire body is animated by the jiva, and the body is only a baffling instrument acting as a plenum for these experiences. I am reminded we are talking about that body being an instrument, you know that song that Thakur used to like, I am the yantri or the yantra, that is the instrument, and you are the yantri, you are the one who moved this instrument. This body is an instrument. Is also told to be a chariot, and the charioteer inside is moving this body, which is the chariot. So, actually, in Kathopanishad, the beautiful allegory is given Atmanam Rathinam Vitti, that is, this Atma is the charioteer and the body is the Shari, or the Sharir or the body is the chariot, and Buddhi is the Sarathi, the one who is, you know, leading the charioteer to move forward, and the mind is the reins that are, keeping the senses in control. So, and there's a big discussion in Brahma Sutra, called Anumanika Adhikaranam, where 11 of the sutras are dealing with this, and Shankaracharya has given a beautiful commentary on it. Anyway, we are not at the moment looking into it. The question is only here that the body of the jiva is only an instrument, and it's the jiva within the Atma which is making it uh, work. As long as the jiva stays in the body, it doesn't die. The body doesn't die. The frozen body is not suitable for the activities of the jiva, and therefore he withdraws and stays put latent in the body. As soon as the body becomes a suitable place for his action, he will resume his activities. The jiva does not leave the body as long as he has not completed his karma. That is what the Vedas tell us. He leaves the body only after completing his karma. These things will be discussed soon when we finish our discussion about the developments in modern science and the question of rebirth. So he leaves the body only after completing the karma. After his exit, the body dies, and there is no point in protecting it. It can be disposed of. What? The opponent asks. Are you saying that the body dies after the exit of the jiva? Is it not that the jiva exits because the body dies? No. The body dies only when the jiva exits. For example, you cut one branch of a tree, partly. The tree continues. You go on cutting different parts, but still the tree will continue until you cut the tree from the root. So, in the same way, the jiva continues to see, even the tree is a jiva, it continues to stay wherever it is suitable for it to stay, and when it finds it unsuitable, then it withdraws, and then the branch dies, for example, in the tree. But the jiva in the tree continues to reside safely in the rest of the tree even if one branch is cut. Even among human beings and animals, when a part of the body is paralyzed, doctors often rejuvenate it. Does not mean that the jiva, who was remaining intact in the rest of the body, was able to re establish himself in that part after its rejuvenation. Even if some part of the body is amputated, the jiva continues to exist in the rest of the body just as before. All these show that it is only by the exit of the jiva that the body dies, and not vice versa. That brings us to the issue of what is a life cell. Now, some scientists would say, or the opponent to the Astikas may say, it is told that the body consists of several cells and they are carrying life, and that the death of all the cells results in the death of the body. Is each life cell a jiva? Then the cell in each body, is that a jiva? No, it is not. There may be single celled jivas, but we cannot say that each cell in the body of an organism is a jiva. Everybody feels that he is not just one, he is just one in the body and not a collection or as a class. These cells are also uniquely different from each other. Each cell acts as a complement to the rest of the body, and this serves the one jiva's interest. If this complementarity in the cells is lost and they start acting independently, then it will lead to disease. Not only that, they perform their role, and after it is over, they die and new cells come up to continue to contribute to the body as a whole. Even though the cells are taking their birth and dying continuously, there are no fluctuations in the awareness of the jiva that he is himself, that one. He continues to feel himself as himself. This means that the cells are only cogs in the life cycle of the jiva. Incidentally, this shows again the distinctive difference of the jiva from the body. Because even when its life cells are going out of existence, the jiva continues. Now, there is another question, the opponent. Certain plants like rose are grown from its own short stem. Does it not show that each cell is a jiva by itself? See, growing of a second plant from its own stem is not very different from the birth of a calf from an animal's sperm. Innumerable life cells exist in plants or the sperms of animals. A jiva may enter into one such cell and develop his body. This process will be discussed now when we take up the Vedic theory about rebirth or how the jiva comes into existence. And the last question, which will be dealt with now here, in the light of science, we said that few sessions will be devoted to the study of the question of rebirth in the light of developments in modern science. So the last aspect of that also we will take up in this session, what we call instinct. Now, in the earlier portion sessions, we discussed how a jiva is a separate entity from the body, and that this jiva should have existed even before the body, birth of the body. We used only common sense arguments based on universal experience. Afterwards, in the foregoing discussions that followed, we discussed the same issue on the basis of science. Now we shall resume the spirit of first three issues that we took up and discuss some more issues based on science. Now, the opponent raises the question. It was told previously that the spontaneous actions of newborn animals like sucking or swimming or flying are evidences of the existence of the jiva prior to the birth of the body. Can we not say that these activities are just instinctive and may not prove the pre existence of the jiva? Now, in answer to this, the Astika says, of course, giving a name to these actions as instinct is not objectionable. But on the other hand, when you are asked for the reason for doing something without practice, you call it instinct. And when I further ask you what instinct is, you will say that it is the ability to do something without practice. This is not scientific logic. You may call it as instinct, but if you still have to explain the reason for the instinct. The reason, as we have stated, is the practice done in previous lives. Then again, the opponent raises the question on this basis, a jiva born for the first time as a monkey cannot have the monkey's instinct. How can this be explained? The Shastra says there is nothing like the birth as a monkey for the first time. Since infinite past, Jiva has been taking innumerable births in all species, not only as a monkey there. Therefore, every Jiva has already had the experience and instincts of every species. Then the opponent raises the question. In that case, how is it that one sees monkey's instinct only in the monkey and human instinct only in the humans? Then the Astika says, based on the Vedas, no, no, you can certainly notice monkey's instinct in man also. However, it is true that man may not be able to jump from the branches of the tree, and a monkey can. Now, this is because an appropriate body is necessary for an instinct to express itself. For example, even though one is an expert cook, he cannot cook without implements like vessels, earth, and so on. Though one might have the instinct to see, he cannot see if there are no eyes. Men will have women's instincts, women will have men's instincts. In fact, in old age, some men develop their breasts also. Recently, I heard about some man with a breast cancer. So, similarly, women may develop, what you call male genes because of that certain male features in their body. Nevertheless, in order to deliver babies, the jiva should certainly have the female body. Don't you see that in old age one cannot indulge in sensual pleasures, though desire could still be there? We see that animals are being trained to play like humans in a circus. How is this possible if they don't have these instincts? Therefore, the Shastra says the Jiva has already taken infinite numbers of births in every species. We will conclude now the sessions on rebirth in the light of the scientific developments in modern genetics, etc. And we have seen that Vedas are able to still continue to hold that rebirth occurs. Rebirth is a reality, in spite of all the arguments that modern genetics may raise. So those questions can be still answered. So we conclude here, and we will start with now, in the next session onwards, the what we understand from the Vedas about rebirth, how the rebirth takes place, how one gets a new body, how the karma is transferred from one body to the other. Some of the people in the group had raised these questions, and we had said these will be dealt with in the sessions on rebirth. So we will continue with the discussion in the next session. I conclude here. कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृतेत् स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै श्रीनारायणायेति समर्पयामि. हरि ओम तत्सत्.